Welcome to Level Up with CMJ. Hey, my name is Joan. This is my Craftsmaster Dice Shooting Journey. Let's make it yours too. This is the last week, the last four sessions, the start of the last four sessions for our green belt level. So let's get started and let's get our dice out here and let's just do some really quick dice grips. Just get into your dice grip 5 times and get into your shooting position. If it's not right, if it's not square, if it's not set straight, make sure you put it down, reset the dice, and get back into it. As far as the dice grip is concerned, use what is comfortable for you. That was a bad grip there. Use what is comfortable for you, whether it's a 3-finger power grip, 2-finger power grip, the Yuri grip like I use, a stacked dice set, whatever works out best for you. I have 2 different videos that I've done. Good morning, George. I have 2 different videos that I've done on different grips that you can use at the craps table. So we have a couple different dice grips set up here. Let's just do some dice manipulation just to get the fingers working, get the blood flowing. So we're spinning right, spinning left, rotate forward, rotate back, rotate to the left, and to the right. Good morning, Navaldo. And again, we'll go to the right and the left. Forward. And the reason we're doing this, guys, is to get the fingers moving, but also to help you set the dice a little bit faster at the craps table. And go to the left. Okay. So this morning I got done with work and everybody's complaining down in Texas about how cold it is. Well, guys, it's -5 degrees in Wisconsin today. And George laughed at me when I put that on Craps Nation Skype thing this morning. So, hey, it is time to thaw out here in Wisconsin. So we're going to just go down. We're going to take our barrel dice out, and we're just going to throw a couple tosses to the end of the table. And let's turn that laser level light on. Make sure it's straight. And you guys can see the laser level on the screen. Good morning, Mike. So all we're going to do is just try to keep them square, try to get them down to that laser level light at the end of the table. So we're just throwing it straight down the table right now. That's all we're going to do. There's about 5 of these throws we're going to do. When I got home from work this morning, I was doing practicing for the shooting tournament that's coming up that George is sponsoring. And I shot 4 shooters. And the first shooter, I got a 12. That was a terrible throw. The second shooter, I got a 7. And then a 5, so it's progressively getting worse. And then my 4th shooter, I got a 23. So I was happy with that. So I stopped right away. And then I had to bring the kids to school. So that's why I got a couple-minute late start this morning. Let's do 2 more. Make sure you concentrate now, guys, on your stance, on your arm position, so you're braced up against the table. You're looking down towards the end of the table and trying to get it right down towards that laser level light that's on, flashing right on the end here. $23 will get me in the top, maybe. We'll see. But probably, George, when the time comes, I'll throw like a 2 or a 3 or a 1. 0.70 3 times in a row. Isn't that our luck? So, okay, we got the barrel dice down. Let's switch over to the regular dice. We'll go to the hardware set, our 5-4-5-4 hardware set. Again, we're just going to do 5 of these tosses right now. And all we're doing is just practicing. Again, it's straight down the table. Make sure you got your stance down. Make sure you got your grip down, your position on the table. You're braced up tight. You're looking down towards your target. And we're just going to release it down. Again, we're going to try to get it down so it hits this laser level, but also focus on the energy that's starting the dice. We're going to try to minimize that as much as possible. So that 23 that I got was on the fourth shooter. So even if it was during the live filming or live video, it wouldn't have counted anyhow. So it is what it is, guys. And that's why we are practicing every day, because hopefully the more we practice, the longer our rolls are going to become and the more consistent they're going to become. And the more we can adjust the dice at the table so we know what's happening to the dice, we know what our throw is, what we need to do to change things so we get better results and the results that we are looking for. So that's the ultimate goal here, guys. A little bit to the left there. And that was a double pitch, 4-3-7. So one more, and then we'll bring out the height tool. A little bit long. And like I did last Friday, guys, when I go long and it hits that back wall, let's do one more. When I hit that back wall, my dice double pitch. And that's exactly what just happened. So I need to make sure that I get that about an inch or so shorter. Even though all we're doing right now is just practicing on energy in the dice and getting it down straight to the end of the table there. So I was watching George practice last night, and he had a few choice words on his video, which, hey, it happens to all of us. So, okay, we're gonna bring the height tool out. Again, we're gonna throw it down straight to the end of the table, and we're gonna go with just getting it over the string. So we're just gonna try to clear that string. We're gonna go with the barrel dice to start off with, and we're gonna try to keep them square. That one landed pretty straight on that line. It was a little bit high. Choice words. That they were last night, George. For a gentleman who is as humble and helpful and everything that you are, George, I just sat back on break and I was watching you throw and I just kind of chuckled a little bit. So again, it happens to all of us. That was a good throw. Just barely cleared the line. It hit right on line. It did veer off a little bit, so it was a little crooked. Well, one more. A little bit to the right, but I like the energy that was in that one. I've just cleared the string, so that was looked good. Let's switch over to the regular dice. Again, we're going to go with the hard way set. And again, guys, there are better dice sets than the hard way set, but the reason I keep on going back to that is it makes it easier for us to know if the dice implode or explode. It also is very easy to get into, and we can get into different dice sets relatively easy from the hard way set as well. The other reason is I'm going to be doing all the recording of my throws with the hard way set. And after we get a certain number of throws in, we're going to be able to adjust the sets based off of the results. And one of the downfalls with the bone tracker, like I said, was, at least that I know of, is that you need to use the same dice set to record. You could change the dice sets, but it's not going to keep consistent numbers on your dice, on the results, I mean. And if you can use the same dice set, they will give you suggestions of dice sets that you can use then to get different numbers, to get different results, to do different things with the dice. So anyhow, one more here, guys. And we're focusing here, guys. I'm gonna straight down the table, trying to keep those dice tight together and keep the energy minimal on that. And I keep on inputting or exporting one of the dice consistently because I keep on getting a 1, but the other one is on axis the entire time. Let's do one more, see what happens. And I'm not focusing enough on watching the dice like I normally do to see which dice does what. That one I got, that was terrible. 12 boxcars. So we had an implosion and explosion all at the same time. So anyway, let's push that dice height tool out of the way. And let's switch screens here. And what we're going to do now is we're going to go through and we're just going to practice getting that energy level down. So we're going to go with the George distance drill. We're going to start stick right 3. And again, guys, some of this stuff gets very repetitious, but as we get going in the program here, and I'll start with blue belt, we're not going to be doing a lot of this stuff. We might revisit some of this occasionally just to keep our skills sharp, to keep the practice going. But once we start that blue belt level, we're going to be going to stick right to here. Once we get to the blue belt level, we're going to be doing our 216 throws so we can get a starting point. And then we're going to start documenting our 5,000 throws. And once we get through that, then we can start making adjustments according to what we're seeing. But there's going to be several things in the blue belt level that we're going to be looking for, that we're going to be training ourselves for while we get those 5,000 rolls in. And those are things I will hopefully this coming weekend shoot the blue belt video and get it out early next week sometime. And that's just time permitting right now for me. So with this George distance drill, all we're doing is just going and trying to get the dice so they barely touch the back wall and they come right back down and they land right at the bottom of the wall. So as close as possible to the wall. We'll go to stick right 1. And we're just slowly working our way away from the wall here so that way we can adjust the energy that we're putting in the dice, the speed that we're throwing the dice, the hardness that we're throwing, how hard we're throwing that dice, all that type of stuff. That's what we're trying to train our body to do. So that when you gradually work your way away from the wall, you can make those adjustments a little bit easier, a little bit faster. Let's go right where the stick man would go. I know we've not done this position before, but let's do it. And all we're doing is when you're practicing, guys, and make sure you get your dice out. Do it daily. If you could do it when I'm doing the video as well, do it. But this drill here, we're doing 3 to 10 times each position. We'll go over to stick left 1. This is my preferred shooting position. And this is the position that we're going to be starting in for the program. You're either going to be starting with stick left 1 or stick right 1, whichever position is your preferred position, but that's where this program starts off at. Later in the program, we're going to be learning about shooting straight out and then shooting the opposite of what your preferred spot is. So if you're at stick left 1, we're going to learn how to shoot from stick right 1. And that one, both of them veered off to the left. So that means that when I released the dice, they were not square when they're flying through the air. They both landed on the right corner of the dice and threw them both opposite. That's something we need to work on. There you go. A little bit better. And we'll do one more, and then we're going to get the targets out. So the energy that I used in the tosses before the exercise is a little bit more than needed. The exercise is good to regulate the arm movements. Okay. Let's do one more and we'll get the targets out. Okay. That one, the right one landed short, the left one hit like it should have. We're gonna do all three targets today, guys. We're gonna start off with the 6-inch. And again, we're gonna locate it so it's straight down the table from the laser level, center in the laser level. And the edge of the target is about 1 inch from the wall. And we're just gonna do about 5 throws possibly with this one. Then we'll go down to the 4.5-inch target. Do another 5 with that one. And then we'll go to the 3.5-inch target, which is the smallest target that we'll be using. Now one way off to the right. And keep in mind, guys, I'm throwing from about 9 feet away. So if we can hit on a consistent basis 6 inches, 4.5 inches, 3.5 inches, it's getting to be pretty accurate, pretty decent with the throws. And what I found last Friday when we were doing our, that was way short. What I was thinking, and I actually did it. What I found last Friday is that I was throwing short with my throws. And I want to try to get that, so I'm getting down to that target for the time being right now. Later this week, we will go through and do a little exercise to adjust that target zone. Now, if you were watching Craps Chat Sunday night, and they were talking about this before I was able to join the show, but they're talking about landing zones and that type of stuff with the dice influencing. And one of the things that Ed Robinson had suggested is that when you throw the dice down the table, you want to try to get them to land on the third diamond or below. Try not to get it higher than that third diamond. According to him, the higher up you go, the more random the results are going to be. And hopefully we can minimize that randomness if we can keep it lower at the end of the table. So when we do our, those are all short. When we do our drills towards the end of the week, I'm going to show you guys how you can switch that landing zone around just a little bit to hopefully adjust and try to find that sweet spot, that spot that you really want to land a dice at. There you go. That was much better. And remember that every table is going to be different at the casinos. You know, you're going to have to adjust your landing zone appropriately to see what you're seeing with the dice, to see what the results of the dice are, how the dice are reacting to the table. Whether it's a bouncy table, hard table, you know, the type of surface that you're going with. Let's switch over to the 4.5-inch target. Again, we're going to center that with the laser light, and we're going to go about 1.5 inches approximately from the back wall. So, okay, let's go to our hardware set now so we can see what the dice are doing while we're throwing it down there. Again, we're going to try to hit center on that target. Now I want just a little bit to the right, but they did land close to the target here. That was a double pitch, 527. When I hit that 23 today, what I did is I was with that hardware set, but all I did is I turned one dice out and I seem to get better results with that. There we go. And remember that the dice sets that we have, guys, another double pitch. Terrible, 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 Joe. Remember the dice sets that we have, guys, there are certain dice sets that are common in that, but everybody's throw is going to be different. Different sets are going to work better for some people than others. Way to the left, because I'm concentrating on talking here. Starting to feel like Alfredo. That's another 5-2. So I'm double pitching every single dice set throw here. That was 3 sevens in a row. Like I was saying, the dice sets much better, and a better result. Dice sets are different for everybody. So if you see somebody that uses a dice set that works really, really good for them, doesn't mean it's going to give you similar results. You have to get the practice in. You have to do the throwing and see what works best for you guys. So do a couple more here, and then we're going to switch to the smaller target. Once you start uh, zoning in on the target that you're using, then you can go down a little bit lower. If you're having a hard time hitting that target, try to stay with it as much as possible. That was a little bit long. 314, Big Joe from Craps Master Journey. With the double pitch, George is saying the middle finger, place more pressure on the thumb and middle finger. That'll help with the double pitch. Give it a shot once. And there you go. Hard way, hard 4, square pair. Let's give it another shot again, see if that helps. A little bit more pressure at the middle finger and thumb. And 3, 2, 5. There you go. We're on axis again. Thank you, George. Again, guys, this is a journey for me and hopefully for everybody here. As I go through the throwing here, guys, I have done a lot of research on throwing a dice. And obviously, I'm doing a lot of the practicing, way short. A lot of the practicing. But there's still so much more to learn. And there's lots of people that have been doing this for so long. And they have a lot of these things down. And this is all stuff that we're going to hopefully learn together. So George is talking about it makes the index and the ring finger less involved. Okay. So you're saying that the index finger and the ring finger is more than likely what's causing it to double pitch. So we're trying to focus on the thumb and the middle finger doing more of the action. And obviously, guys, when we release the dice, that one's on axis 6, 4, 10. No, that wasn't on axis. One of them went off axis. What was I saying? Oh, obviously, though, guys, even though we're focusing on right now, putting a little bit more pressure at the thumb and middle finger, still remember when you're releasing a dice, we're going to release that thumb so we're not pushing the dice and not splitting the dice when they fly through the air. 4, 2, 6 on axis. So let's go and go with the smallest target now. We're going to go to 3.5-inch target. And this one now, guys, we're going to go a little bit further. We're about 2 inches off that back wall now. And remember, it's a 3.5-inch area. We're throwing from 9 feet away. So now if we can consistently hit that target, that is some decent accuracy. And this is something that we're going to have to practice over time. That one went just a touch long. little short, and they both went off to the left. Means it was not square when I released. Got excited to get past this level here and start recording, start getting some results, and start doing some consistent throwing. There you go. That was a good throw. 6 to 8. Went off axis, but I like the landing zone. I like how close they landed to the back wall. That one did go to the left a little bit, so it did take off on me a little bit. Way long, and I don't like seeing that. And this is one of the things when I'm doing the live streams, I'm trying to focus on the dice throwing, but also the talking. And it takes a little bit of the concentration off. I know this morning when I was practicing, it was really nice because there was no talking. Everything was just totally focused 100% on what I'm doing. Now it looks better. And that does make a difference. That does make a difference if you're not having to talk, not having to explain things while you're going, and you can actually focus better. You can actually make the changes as you see them, if you will. Way short, way low. They are on axis, but terrible, terrible throw. And it's funny because you decrease the size of that target a little bit, and all of a sudden everything goes wacko. Oh yeah. And I have only practiced with this target size one other time before right now. Which is funny because it really should not make that big of a difference because it's only an inch smaller than the last one that we're using. But those little things like that does make an impact. Whether it's a physical impact or a mental impact, who knows? I went off to the left. Distance-wise is just about right. And we're going to go through 2 more here, guys, and then we're going to wrap things up for the morning. A little bit hard. Square pair. A little bit hard, but distance-wise, it was good. So slow it down a little bit, bring up the height a little bit. And again, constantly analyzing, constantly looking at what you're doing, constantly trying to change it. You make one change and another one comes out. So it must be the day, George. Okay, one more. Let's make this one good. Straighten everything. Position, grip, landing zone, mediocre. So hard 4, 2-2. Mike from On Point Craps. So anyhow, let's go over to our homework corner really quick. And what we're going to do, guys, is make sure you do your warm-ups and your stretches, and then go through 5 dice grips. We're going to do some dice manipulation drills today, left, right with the dice, roll it forward, roll it backwards, roll it left, roll it right. And then we're going to go through with the throwing straight. We're going to start off with the barrel dice. We're going to do that 5 times. Go to our hard way set, do that 5 times using the laser level for both of those. Then we're going to bring out the high throwing tool and start with the barrel dice again, 5 throws. Switch over to that 5-4, 5-4 hard way set. Do it again for 5 throws. Then we'll go with the George distance drill, 3 to 5 or 3 to 10 times from each position. Try to minimize the energy in the dice and get to barely touch the wall and land as close as we can to the wall. Then we're going to go pull out the landing zones, our targets. We're going to start off with the 6-inch target. Do that 5 or so times until you start getting consistently hitting that target. Move it down to the 4.5-inch target, and we'll do that another 4, 5, 10 times, whatever you feel comfortable with. And then we're going to go with that 3.5-inch target. So, guys, thanks for showing up today. Make sure you give a thumbs up if you do like the videos. And hey, my name is Joe. This is my Crapsmaster dice shooting journey. Let's make it yours.